Hello Game fans, we are back in business. After a couple of weeks of lull, game developers appear to be ready to launch their titles with some bangers in this normal edition of indie gaming this week. I don't normally cover visual novel titles, so when they get on the list, you know they're doing something right, and such is the case with Lotus Reverie First Nexus. It's a Persona or Danganronpa style title where a mysterious incident has occurred, forming non-human entities named Taupas who depend on their human host to survive, where if either dies, the other party does as well, and the only way to extend their lifespan is to kill another human Taupa pair. This is done through a time management layer where you can train, as well as a turn-based strategy minigame on top of the conversations and classic visual novel style choices. Seems pretty well made and appears to be from a solo developer from Spain, making it even more impressive. The developer of Gunslingers and Zombies did reach out to me, and while it does use the age-old trope of zombies and that same asset pack that I'm so very sick of, I do have an interest in tactics titles, so I have to give this a shout out. It looks mechanically similar to XCOM, having two-phase movement and attack structure, with period-appropriate weaponry and setting. It will be releasing in early access with just the first of 5 chapters, so one to keep an eye on. I covered rogue-lites in my previous video, so I'm happy to see 2021 kick off with Lethal Running, set in a futuristic dystopia within the context of a deadly game show. While this concept certainly isn't new, it does have a good look and takes in ideas from some other adjacent media like Battle Royale, in that you're exploring and scavenging for resources in an urban wasteland, fending off waves of bounty hunters to survive. Good pixel art, so I hope it plays well, but certainly of interest for the week.
Welcome to the Lethal Run Show!
Bigger games this week begins with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game Complete Edition. If you're not in the know, this fan favourite beat 'em up was released on Xbox 360 and PS3 in 2010 and delisted in 2014, not being available for purchase since then, presumably due to licensing issues, but that appears to have been sorted out and is coming to modern platforms. Decent little brawler that got 7s and 8s across the board, but gained somewhat of a mythical status due to it not being available for purchase, so if you're curious, get this to see what the fuss is all about. Although controversially, it is being put out by Ubisoft and you may not be comfortable supporting them. I have a healthy admiration for Hungarian developer New Core Games, which, according to their Wikipedia entry, is best known for the King Arthur role-playing wargame series, grand strategy titles from the 2010s, where they did make a detour to make two excellent isometric action RPGs, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing and Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, which is where I got to know them from. With King Arthur Knight's Tale, they are dipping back into Arthurian myth, but instead is a turn-based tactics RPG which simply looks awesome. It's very classically grimdark, with fantasy elements in terms of giant monsters, the undead and so on, with a look like Tainted Grail, and will be releasing in early access, but is a title that has potential. Always a fan of freeform construction games, so Rogue Waves didn't get my attention, but you're allowed to build your own warships, and there are a number of story quest objectives to complete. Predictably, this is an early access title, and based on the trailer, it's all open waters, so not sure how much of a game there is, but at the very least, I'm curious about this. Dungeon and Puzzles made my best upcoming indie games of the month, so it's no wonder that it appears yet again, where it's a turn-based Sokoban style title presented excellently with the pixel art. There's equipment and items like swords, gloves and such, which will give you additional abilities, with music, at least from the trailer, reminding me of a Professor Layton game, so of course I'm down for this. Saturn Quest Blast Effect is a neat-looking action-adventure shoot-'em-up hybrid where you're exploring the galaxy and defeating gigantic bosses in an 8-bit space opera. I've mentioned their earlier title, Saturn Quest Shadow of Planetus, around its launch last year in April, where it used the same art style but had gameplay more akin to Shadow of the Colossus, so it's nice to see this developer try something a little different this time around. I do like the look, being trippy and fantastic in my opinion, so it's a title of interest. For smaller games this week, we begin with the pixel art 2D brawler Arm of Revenge Re-Edition. I'm not sure if this is some sort of enhanced re-release or the like due to the title, but there appear to be some flashy combos, an upgrade system and skill tree, with some impressive art as well. They cite King of Fighters, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry and Shank as inspirations, so of course I'm in, with this looking to have a little bit of a Metal Slug vibe as well.
Construction on the last tower stopped weeks ago. I can only assume that the builders have met their fate by now. I'll need to travel across the other 2 towers to get there, but I'm sure I can find a way.
Cloud Climber is a free first-person adventure game where you're walking on and building rickety contraptions in between towers in the sky. It looks pretty great, where like many people, I do also have a fear of heights, but the setting is unique and for free, why not?
It's been quite some time since I was on the 2nd tower. Looks like I'll need to fix this bridge. It's hard to believe that I'm the last one here. I never thought it would end like this.
Epitaph is an interesting turn-based RPG title where getting killed only brings your units back stronger than ever up to a certain degree, and it makes its way to Switch this week. We do have a number of farming games this week as well, first of which is Farm Manager 2021 Prologue, a free demo for you to check out. It's a tycoon or management sim where you need to build an efficient farm, growing crops, raising cattle, building storage facilities, buying equipment and more. The simulation looks suitably complex with a ton of variables to manage, so certainly one for tycoon game fans. The next farming game is Farmer's Life Prologue, which brings us into first person, where you're just one person finding a way to survive. Now this developer's track record seems to be a little bit sketchy, having a number of simultaneously announced games with no release dates on any of them, but if games like Medieval Dynasty or Lumberjack Dynasty are any indication, this might just absolutely explode in popularity and is one to keep an eye on.
Seems we have another nightmare on our hands.
Come on! Come on! Step right up!
I enjoyed the original Figment, an action-adventure title set in the mind of a young child experiencing trauma, where the bosses, enemies and use of song was excellently done, with the sequel, Creed Valley, getting a prologue demo to check out. Jet Cave Adventure is a platformer title where you play as a caveman with a jetpack, leading to all sorts of shenanigans. It released on Switch in 2019 and is coming to Steam and Xbox this week. Pixel game maker series Werewolf Princess Kaguya was a title that I missed in December and could probably do without the front parts of the name, and is a pixel art action-adventure title which looks good. This launches on Switch and may be of interest to you.
This is Papa Bear. Units report. Over. Green 1, this is Papa Bear. Move to the LZ. Over.
Radio Commander is one of the more interesting strategy games set in the Vietnam War, where you're commanding your troops from a tent, only using their voice reports to keep track of the battlefield situation, and gets ported to Switch this week.
Alpha, this is Papa Bear. What's the encounter's outcome? Over.
This is Alpha. We are exchanging fire with enemy. Fronts at 357.
Green 1, this is Papa Bear. Scotty, we have to evacuate those boys as fast as possible. Over.
Man down. We are taking casualties.
Come, child. Let me tell you how this land came to be.
RavenWeald is a classic rogue-like RPG that looks decent, if a little mobile-like in interface. Reach the Summit is a precision platformer that reminds me of the original Celeste, having quite the Pickle 8 style look, and is one for platformer fans. Literally just covered Rhythm Fighter in my last video on the best roguelites of 2020, and it gets a Switch version this week, so no excuse not to pick this up. Shadow Gangs did also get a Switch port and did impress some of you when I covered the Steam launch last year in April. Shot in the Dark is a simple looking but stylish action title making use of black, white and red only, so other indie developers take note. This is one way of making your game stand out. As a side-scrolling action game where you're fending off nightmares with nothing but a 6-shooter looking well made and of interest. Short trailer for Strike Team Gladius, but it's a sci-fi turn-based tactics game that uses hexagons, releasing in early access and could be neat.
Welcome. Are you sitting comfortably? Are you focused and not thinking about whatever's bothering you these days? I'm not here to test you. Please, relax.
Sunlight looks like a wonderfully relaxing first-person exploration title where you're exploring a forest with a philosophical story that seems chill. SuperMash released on the Epic Games Store last year and had some interesting ideas, allowing you to combine genres into randomly arranged games, such that you could mash together a JRPG with a shoot 'em up for example, but it did fall short in some ways, since, at least how this game mashes them together, certain combinations did not really work. In the aforementioned case, the game paused every time you took a shot to simulate the turn-based combat of a JRPG, making it a pain in the butt to say the least, but it's a game which is interesting conceptually. The final farming game on this list is the simply named The Farm. which, admittedly, is a mobile port and comes to us from a South Korean developer. However, it does look really cute with nice pixel art and adorable animal designs, especially for the cows and dogs. The Pillar Puzzle Escape comes to consoles this week and is a first-person puzzle game that's pretty alright. I do love this genre, with some highlights as per my recent video, where this game does not just have one type of puzzle, but picks and chooses from different games, and if you're looking for something new, perhaps do give this a shot. I love city builders, so What's Left Behind is of interest, touting itself as a city rebuilder taking place in the post-apocalypse. Of course, something catastrophic has happened, and it is up to you to rebuild from what's left behind, putting a spin on things which I appreciate as a fan of the genre.
Through dangerous forests, blizzards and muck, my grandson must travel in search of his luck.
Finally, the action-adventure RPG Yaga makes it to Steam and was a pretty decent entry when I last checked it out.
He will need to seek a witch's advice. I hope he comes back married and proud, not hungry and cold or under a shroud.
Since launch, it has got some free content patches, adding more and retweaking some core mechanics that makes this Slavic myth-inspired game even better, so if you have been waiting, it's a great time to pick this up.
Savages. You are back, blacksmith.
Yaga.
Oh my goodness, what is this? All I see is rot and flesh. Who is there to save us now? It's the skeleton.
Into the home stretch with Skellboy Refractured, technically not a new release since it did come out on Switch last year, but is making its way to Steam as an enhanced release.
Wait a sec, that's super gross. Why not wear a dragon snare? Or a cutie pie to pay?
Please! Necromancer fell in love. The princess couldn't follow, so he summoned all of them to gather attention. Can you feel the tension? Grab a weapon, kick somebody, say no.
It's an action-adventure title where a heartbroken court magician decided to reanimate the undead for revenge, but unwittingly revived a hero named Skippy as well, who has to save the day.
Emerging from the ocean, so there's no solid life. Sees the motion, random generated noise, full of mutant jewel. Conquer new environments, fight with new amazing tools.
Man, this game got really hard. Can someone help me out here?
Yes, I can. I'll lend a hand. A friend enjoy the action. For the satisfaction, grab two weapons, kick my butts and sing.
The new version includes 2-player co-op, a new procedurally generated dungeon, new game plus and new items, and since I'm primarily a Steam person, I'll be checking it out here. Of course, big fan of their little theme song, so indie developers do take note, and looks to be another awesome experience.
That's been destroyed by the undead hero. No one there to save them all. Populations less than zero. Be the hero once again. This nightmarish kingdom.
One more thing we want to add.
Ahora también puedo hablar español.
All of this awaits in Clement.
Dum da da dum 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 dum.
A retro 8-bit excellent title is Binky's Trash Service, a platformer title that looks oh so nostalgic. Play as a garbage person who runs the service for a number of evil lairs, which of course means hazards. This is speedrun focused, with gold, silver and bronze medal type of gameplay structure, with new elements like conveyor belts, waterfalls, portals and more introduced in each subsequent level. However, there's something about the jumping mechanics that looks a little bit off to me, going to the Sonic school of design with high speed running and weird bouncy bumpers, but I am curious about this and it does look pretty good. I've mentioned developer Yak & Co recently during the Steam sale, since they did make their sleek adventure game Agent A: A Puzzle in Disguise, with Down in Bermuda being their latest title. It's an adventure puzzle game where you play as an aviator who goes down in the notorious Bermuda Triangle, finding himself on an island with puzzles to solve and creatures of the deep to battle. Looks really well put together, so I am keen on this. The no-brainer title of the week has to be Ancient Abyss, an action rogue-lite that has more than a little bit of Zelda in this. I like the pixel art, with there being shades of Hyper Light Drifter as well, and looks like a well-made action-adventure game with some sleek minute-to-minute action. Fire physics will be of interest, and it looks to be another solid roguelite to kick us off in the new year, taking the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos, and I will see you after the jump.